may not see it yet. I have to switch privacy. There we go. Okay, now it's shareable. Sharing it out to every group this time, not just certain groups. I'm going to share it out on Messenger directly to my followers. Hello, everybody. We'll be right with you. Hello, everybody. What is going on? Happy Thursday night, guys. Welcome to another episode of People in the Boxes, number 18 tonight. Number 18. So it's great that I actually have some issues picking a topic, because that means there's lots of topics, right? There's lots of stuff to talk about. Tonight's episode, we're going to be talking about your paranormal experiences, if you have any, right? Or if you think it's all a hoax, right? We're going to be going back and forth with that. And I know there's a lot of people that have some input on it. This is the show. And as far as I know, the only podcast that allows the audience to come up on screen to share their experience. And just to remind you guys, you can come up audio only. If you want to be anonymous, you can do that. And in tonight's boxes, only person so far to brave the boxes is our co-host Jason.
How you doing today, guys? Hello. Thank you for joining us, everybody. Really appreciate it. I think we got a good show tonight. You know, like Landon said, it is a little difficult coming up with topics every week. You know, so this one was thrown out earlier in the week. We started talking about it on a couple different pages. And
this was your idea. I want to make sure I pointed out. It was a good idea.
Yep. We were talking about it on a couple different pages, and it popped up, and I'm like, yeah, that's a good one. We can have a lot of topic on that. So,
well, and like you said, it's difficult, but it's in a good way. It's like, oh man, this would be good. That one would be good, you know. Yep. And I do want to remind people that we do plan to revisit some of these topics, you know, especially when we've gotten to the point where we can get more and more professionals involved. And tonight, I think we might have one or two on with us. I'm still sending a few out directly to Messenger. I don't know. Have you tagged anyone yet? I know Rose wanted to tag.
There's some people that have been tagged so far. They'll probably be hopping in here in a minute. I've shared it to both of our pages, my pages, you know, so I got that going. Heather is here. So Miss Charlene is here. So it looks like there's a couple people that are here. Little Jen is here. Pin the link they're asking for, Waylon.
Jenna, you're gonna be good, aren't you? Did you get a lot of it out over there on Fire in the Hole? Did you get out some of your antsy pants? Let's see here. Let me pull up the link. I'll pin it. Yeah, Jenna, you better have a good story to tell us. We're not. Okay, here we go. Pin it. Boom. Okay, it is pinned. Now, Jenna, I will let you up, but just try to be kind. There's some, I do have some actually some information to pull up too. I try to always have something, right? And there's some, believe it or not, some interesting stuff on this that's just detail oriented on, you know, some of the history behind it, you know. Let's see, mute website.
He said, don't let me up if you can't handle me.
Yeah, well,
that always remains to be seen. You're going to get.
That always remains to be seen. All right. While people are getting in, I'm going to try to pull up the first thing. There's definitely two major sides of this. I don't know what you found in your searches and stuff, but it's definitely something that's called a pseudoscience. I don't know if anyone knows what that means. Basically, it's like an unprovable science. It's a very thought out thing. A lot of people think about it, but it's not necessarily 100% provable. And we got another box member here, member number 2 from the 42710 family. Hello.
Hey guys. I could have changed my name then.
Oh, you still can, or well, I can. If you can't, I know I can change it. Should I change it to Lanny?
I like that, actually. I do like
I kind of liked it too. I was like, oh.
Out of all of it, yeah. So mother called me Lonnie, and it was like I grew up going, how did you get that? She's like, say your name really slow. And I'm like, there's no O. Like, you spelled it wrong. What the?
Melanie.
Yeah.
Or Melanie. So yeah, I'm seeing people excited in the comments. You guys are welcome to come up. Remember, you can be anonymous. I mean, we might recognize your voice, but we're on YouTube and Twitch, and so you can be, you know, Jane Doe or John Doe, whatever you want to pretend to be. Yeah, everyone's creeped out in the comments, have all these stories. So let us know if you have any. I have a couple myself. Nothing major. I don't know if you guys have anything direct, but before we get into that, we might as well look at least at some of the dry stuff. Let me make this bigger. Melanie.
Yes. Sorry. What?
You didn't hear what I said. Okay, good.
He said, "Let me make this bigger."
Make it bigger. I was letting it go. We're not on that page. I was trying to be good.
She's trying to be professional, Waylon.
Well, remember, I put a disclaimer up for a reason. You know, we can have some humor involved. We can digress from the topic anytime. I just, you know, the topic is mainly to give us something to focus on. You know, and I do learn something each time. So I don't know about you guys. I do enjoy that. I found this character though. This guy here, Mr. Charles Fort. Okay, there's a lot of information on the wiki here, and there's multiple wikis. There's so much stuff out there, guys. I looked on YouTube, and every YouTuber has an episode where they say my paranormal experience, you know, and it's like that's not their normal topic. It's just like I'm giving you my experience. It's so funny. Oh, Rose is back. Rose, definitely want to see you come up if you can. I appreciate the expertise. Oh, Dan the man, the mushroom man. Haha. Your name's still the same. That's funny. What's up, Dan? I think you're muted.
Or not plugged in.
Yep, your mic is real low.
Now we can go good. Can you hear me?
Better? Yes, that's better. Right. Okay.
Hello.
Dan, a few people didn't see it. If you guys didn't see it, my episode 58 yesterday of The Indoor Farmer, I had Dan on to show off or to tell me, you know, what to do next with the mushrooms that he gave me. He's the one that gave me the big block of blue oysters. And if you haven't seen it, go check it out. It's actually really good. We got into psilocybin and magic mushrooms and the whole thing. It was good. And actually, that almost connects to this episode in a lot of ways. Because guys, if you don't realize this, when you say paranormal, it's not just ghosts, right?
Rose, I'm gonna real quick. Rose is trying to get on. Rose, if you click that link at the bottom that's pinned, it'll ask you for permission, and that's how you get on.
Yep, just go through a couple of prompts that it tells you to go through, and sometimes you might have trouble if you try to use an off web browser. For some reason, they've gone back and forth. I use Brave, the Brave browser. It's sort of somewhat more protected, and it doesn't work now. So it was working, and anyway, so you might have to use like Safari or something. That's what I use, but
I'm on Chrome.
Yeah. Okay. Works. So, well, are you using a tablet?
No, I'm on a Google phone. No. I'm
okay. I was like, how do you get? I don't think I can get Chrome. Maybe you can on
it might iPhone. Be because it's the Google tablet. It's Google phone.
Sure. Mm-hmm.
So it just goes right to Chrome. I can do the other ones. I like it.
Yeah, whichever one works. We'll give Rose some time. But yeah, at first I was thinking, you know, ghosts, but then as I'm looking into it, it's actually separate categories within paranormal. You have actually, where did I find that? I actually had the 3 different categories. Ufology. There's a cryptozoology and ghost hunting, right? And Dan, the mushroom man, is a ghost hunter. What should I call you? Amateur ghost hunter? I feel like that might be.
Yeah, that's more. I've had a few experiences with.
Rose worked on a paranormal team, so I'd love to hear the two of your. Yeah, I'd love to. I hope she does come up.
Oh, here she is.
Oh, look at that! My hopes are coming true.
Hello, Rose.
Hello, Rose.
Hi, beautiful.
Thanks for braving the StreamYard.
I'm like, every time.
Just a couple of things. You can still see comments if you want. There's a button there that says chat, and then you can you got to go from the private chat to the comments, and you won't see us, but you can see the comments then. Another thing is you can also zoom in on us if you feel like we're such a tiny picture and you can't see anything on your phone. You can zoom in. I don't think I can do that on my computer, but
I never knew that. What the?
Yeah,
I just put my tablet on so I can see who the hell I'm talking to. I never knew I could zoom in on here.
That's another helpful thing. And then you can actually leave StreamYard open and back out to like tag or share or whatever you want to do, and then come back in, and it just goes from a black screen back to you. So there's some little things that are cool about it.
Wow. Hi, Kat.
Let me finish my thought.
Okay.
Hi, Kat. Gonna come up. I wanted to finish my thought about how it also includes aliens, and a lot of people would probably think of those as separate things, but it's kind of interesting how they're under the same pseudoscience category, which is, so like I said, I pulled up a whole side of hoaxes and a whole side of like actual paranormal history that's trying to be legit. So it's kind of funny. This guy, though, Charles Fort, 1874 to 1932, perhaps the best known collector of paranormal anecdotes. So yeah, he says like 40,000, I think, that he collected. But then this is the interesting thing, that he wrote 7 books from his findings, but only 4 of those books survive today. Ooh.
No.
More or less probably got burned.
Hey, okay, maybe, but
what happened.
It could sound a little bit scarier,
That's what they used to do with
this
witches
guy
too. Burn their book.
Yeah, that's true. There was a big book burning at some point around then anyway, but I guess he coined the phrase teleportation, poltergeists, crop circles, like a bunch of this stuff. Ball lightning. I mean, just things that he saw through his discoveries, and then he got to name. So it's kind of cool. Let's see. Yeah, I don't want to read too much of the dry stuff, right? But yeah, there's all kinds of information out there on it, books and everything. But this is an episode about our experiences, right? So we have 2 people on right now that definitely are going to have some experiences. I'll just tell you my experience real quick. I'll be quick about it, okay? Let me pull us back up here.
As always.
I'll be very quick. Wait a minute. So I was like 7 or 8, okay, and it was in this apartment complex, and I was outside. I just remember being outside, and this old man, he was looking up at the sky, and he was just dumbfounded, he was just staring at this. I looked up there, and I could see something up there, and I was a kid. I'm like, I don't know what this is, and it was floating in the air. Well, it was a weather balloon. It was clearly a weather balloon to any adult. The old man was crazy. This was like a known like crazy man in my apartment complex. And so I was like, oh, okay. Well, my mom explained to me later. It's like, oh, well, this guy saw an alien, Mom. But yeah, I mean, but I want to ask this question though. Hasn't every person, I can't imagine someone out there that hasn't had this happen, when you are in your dark basement or a dark alley, or you're out in the woods and it's kind of pitch black, whatever reason, and you feel like you're being watched, don't you? Like, I don't know about you guys, not always, maybe not as pronounced all the time, but that's kind of the point of me bringing it up, is not all the time, sometimes no big deal, but every now and then when you're in the dark,
I believe those most definitely can be spirit at that point. Yeah.
I'm going to say that's probably because you're not alone.
Right. But there are different ways to explain it. Some people want to say, that's like an actual dead person as a ghost. Other people want to say it's just a thinner veil, a time and space where it's thin between dimensions. We actually might be seeing echoes from an alternate dimension of our own selves.
I feel like that's science, though. Like that's
less
like
pseudoscience,
full
more
on science, whereas paranormal is definitely not 100% science.
Yeah, they call it pseudoscience, and I don't know the exact definition.
I don't like that either, because pseudo means fake. So the word pseudoscience kind of bothers me too.
So I think I see a spot right here. Let me zoom it in for everybody. Okay, on the classification of paranormal subjects, this guy, he wrote, the paranormal can best be thought of as a subset of pseudoscience. So like you said, it's not just pseudoscience, it's a subcategory, I guess. What sets the paranormal apart from the other pseudosciences is a reliance on explanations for alleged paranormal or phenomena that are well outside the bounds of established science. So they are trying to explain things that aren't even close to being able to, basically.
Right.
That's what I'm reading. There's more to it, but
I feel like since we're getting into the science, Rose, do you use like the heat index and like I don't know what they're called, obviously, but do you use the machines like they use on what you would see on TV on ghost hunters or whatnot?
Some, and Cisco wanted to make, what do you call them? Mapping.
Oh, the
voice box.
Yeah, but it maps spirits. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, where it can tell like if there's different heat elements or different sounds on pitches and stuff like that. There's like two different main things that I've seen used that seem to be like beneficial.
We have a spirit box. That's where you can listen to them, ask questions, stuff like that.
Yeah. Yeah, those are pretty cool.
Yeah, we have a recorder, and then Cisco wanted to make one of the mapping ones, but you need parts. So
yeah,
it uses
connect. Do you start with just the basic heat gun? I know that sounds stupid, but is that like
it's from what?
Because you're looking for infrared
steampunk that shit together and
right, like you're looking for infrared heat, right? Or
cheers, everybody.
But we don't have one of those yet.
Is that what he's talking about making though?
I think it's called a FLIR. Yeah. That's what I've seen it called in ghost hunters.
Right.
Sees the heat indexes and picks up where the
so here's another thing. Sherry in the comments says she's been smelling cigarettes and she doesn't smoke. We actually just sent her some sage. But her father, is that right, Sherry? Is it your father or your mother that smoked and all of a sudden now she's starting to smell that? Sherry, I want to know more of the details. Be sure of more of the details of who it is, but I want to say it's her father.
And her Heather.
Her father had just passed. Heather was in here.
Okay, I know she wanted. Yeah,
so Dad used to cut the ends of his cigarette butts off, and less than a month ago, I found one.
I remember you saying that.
He's been passed for 4 years. We have ripped out carpet, laid new flooring. We've done it all. So, I mean,
that's pretty crazy.
And then he used to warm his tortillas up on the stove, and he liked them burnt. And for the longest time, randomly, we'd smell burnt tortillas, and we don't do that. So,
see, and that's a specific smell too. Sherry says yes, it was her father. So her father just passed months ago, literally just months ago, maybe 2 months ago, and now all of a sudden she's smelling cigarette smoke in her house. So.
So what you're describing, that's both the problem and the solution of this is that it's an unexplainable phenomenon, right? That makes it a problem, but it also is the solution because it's unexplainable. We know that something fucking is going on there, right?
Yeah.
That's the sort of the catch-22 almost in reverse. Like,
do we automatically rule out it's not our brain, because our brain processes all this from what
smell.
we take in. So our brain could just be like,
well, from breathing too. We could totally be, missing that person and thinking of that person subconsciously or consciously, and smell what what
Like,
smell reminds us of them.
phantom limb pain. What's that all about?
I think that's different than ghosts, but
that's a different thing.
But it's not.
Different day.
It is in your brain.
Your leg
You're
is
right.
just like, ooh.
Not at all.
I get what you're saying there.
If we're using our brain as the point of connection for what we're talking about, phantom limb pain is a part of this conversation.
Yeah,
it is true. It is true.
Like,
Well, I guess it would be the spirit of your limb.
You always freak yourself out in the dark, and you see and hear things that you don't, because if there's no absolute in the dark for you, then the absolute is whatever you think. You go, oh,
possibilities, right?
Your imagination of what you just heard, which you didn't hear, you heard in your ear, in your brain, because you imagined what it sounded like.
Right, but see, you're explaining that to yourself right now, so you're already aware to question yourself. Like, okay, did that really happen? Or, that really happened. That didn't happen.
But we don't know
that. We're our own worst enemy.
Right?
I think we can agree that there are both times when we trick ourselves and possibly unexplained things like these, like the multiple military what do you call them, reports about the flying objects that are going in directions and moving in ways that we just can't do yet. That just happened recently, where they actually released a bunch of these separate reports from different places that report an object that looks like a pill that is just
okay, far-fetched. Give us your theory. Is it
that's the point, is that you have to make a theory on it unless you just want to say it's
for an explanation. I'm asking for you right now. What's your take? What do you think?
I'm starting personally. I'm starting to think more along the lines of dimensional changes, beings that can move dimension, because when we start to look at distance and how fast things can possibly move, yes, there's a possibility that some alien force can move faster than light or whatever, but that's actually I think that's more far-fetched than the ability to move between dimensions. We've already we know, right, to us, we only know there's 3 dimensions, right? So we've already looked at the fact that, like, an ant doesn't know that we are there, because it's inconceivable to the ant. So to us, like, so many things are out there that we just can't even conceive yet, and that's why we're explaining things away. That's why, like, when you look at tribes, there's a certain tribe, I forget the name, that's still untouched by other men today. Like, literally no other outside people go to, and they study them from afar, and they think that planes are birds. They think that, and they make up explanations where there isn't one. To your point, you're asking me directly, and I think, yes, I think we're not alone, but I don't know that it's like that's why we're not seeing like a giant ship with millions of aliens. I think we're just seeing little bits of what they can contact us with, like I'm also entertained the hollow earth theory. I don't really like the flat earth theory. I look at all these things, because I like the thought process behind them, because we don't know for sure. I mean, anyway, I'm rambling, but
do you pass
all
off
interesting.
Sasquatch as being fake?
I think Sasquatch is a real thing that was alive at some point, but I don't think. I mean, so many people look for him now, and we
Larry.
Well, I just don't think that it's around anymore. I think we probably killed them all off or whatever. But
if we killed them off, we would have seen them. Maybe, I guess, not in this.
Yeah, 1800s or whatever. Like, who knows? We
actually have a law protecting Bigfoot in our county.
Huh.
Yeah.
I want to hear from Dan for a minute.
I don't know why that's comical.
How much ghost hunting have you done? Have you gone and actually gone to any places yet?
I used to do it a lot with my girlfriend. That was about 15 years ago. But
wow,
I have played with a Ouija board before, and I had some pretty crazy stuff happen while playing with it. It was all good energy, but it moved around for 3 hours, and that I don't have any explanation for how it worked, because we experimented where I had 4 people in the room, and 2 people put a finger on it, and this thing would still spell out sentences somehow.
I've done the same when I was younger.
And
yeah.
What's that?
I said I've done the same when I was younger, like just different people and the same spirits. But I knew I wasn't doing it, and I was the only common factor. So it was the same spirit. It was actually my daughter from my past life, which was very interesting. But got like details and addresses that actually exist. It's pretty crazy.
There's no way anybody could have moved it that for that long a period of time and played us for a fool, because it was answering questions that nobody knew answers to as well.
Well, I've seen them move, and there's no way a human could move it like it does. I've seen it tip up. I've seen it do different things. So it's definitely one of them.
I wonder if there's any truth to the thought that people who are actual fortune tellers, actual psychics, they play the game where they take advantage of it, but there may actually be some that are legit. But you guys know what I mean? Like, to Frost's point, like, there's probably a lot of charlatans out there, and and grifters and things, but there are some that seem pretty real. Kasia, let's hear from Kasia. Hi, Kasia.
Hi. She's like on point. She's psychic.
Who is?
I'm a local lady in town that has plays.
You're convinced?
And Elisa said she's gonna need to see that on video to believe any of it.
Right. So, Kasia, have you had any experiences?
A lot.
Oh, boy.
But I've also heard a lot of stories and stuff. I have a couple friends that are mediums that literally talk to people without even trying to talk to people. And it happens randomly, and you can be anywhere at like a grocery store, and you're just like, oh God, this person's dad is trying to talk to me right now.
Yeah.
Like, it's not even, they're not even asking, the people aren't even coming up to you, and you're just like, okay, do I say something or do I not? And it's because of all the crazies that are out there that sit there and feed off of people, for it.
Wow.
I've done that though, Waylon. I've done that. Like, throughout my lifetime, I've been in company. I've been like, you can obviously feel people's angst about certain situations or people they've lost and shit, and fucking you feel like, you know what? I feel like I'm relaying a message to you now from this person, and you say things to the people that are true and on. I've done that.
Do we think that's all encompassed under the Sixth Sense, not the movie, but like, is it like a third eye or whatever that some people are able to tap into and some aren't? I've heard of the story of like, they say Albert Einstein was one of these people that could tap into the Akashic record. The Akashic record. Has anyone heard of this? The Akashic record. Supposedly, it's like it's all of the knowledge of the aliens that we can't access. And supposedly, there's like an internet, going through the galaxy that we can't access, but some people have been able to, and they have what you call a eureka moment. And these are the people that they may or may not be inventors or smart people, but they had some eureka moment where they're like, oh my God, rubber bands, or, oh my gosh, E equals MC squared, just like they hit their head, and suddenly this knowledge hits them like with a ton of bricks.
I think that's where you could talk about like psychedelics go into that realm where you
because opens your mind a little bit.
Yeah, it opens up the third eye to make you very aware of everything, and a lot of people could actually see more spirits when they're on. I feel like there's a lot of energy that you can feel when you're on psychedelics that are unexplainable.
I got to rock the late night, Waylon.
All right, brother. Thanks for stopping by.
Though,
yeah, let's hear it.
So I was in Sarnia at the time. I was with my girlfriend. We went to her parents' house, and her her dad and her stepmom. So when we went there, they like playing cards and darts and stuff and whatnot. So they started telling us about the haunted entity in their house. It was this boy, blah blah blah. They seen it sitting on the couch one time, da da da, all this stuff, right? So then we started playing these cards, and the cards game is where everybody deals. I can't remember what it was called, and you flip a card in the middle, and you play off that card and stuff like this, and you have teams. So we're playing this game, and first person deals, flips the card, and it was I want to say it was the Ace of Hearts. I know it was the same card, but I can't remember. I think it was the Ace of Hearts or Queen of Spades. It was one of those two cards. I don't remember. And so we play the round. Next person deals to the right. Boom. Shuffles the card. Turns up the same card. Okay, cool. Coincidence. 2 cards. Shuffled. Next person shuffled. Third person or whatever gets the deal. Boom. Same card gets flipped up. Fourth person deals. All right at the last one, we're having a laugh, going, haha. Wonder if it's the same card. Haha. Flip. Exact same card. Never forget the moment of my life. What happened? Coincidence or fucking something? The 52 cards. You can't fucking flip the same card for 4 people. Like it's what happened there. I'll leave you with that.
A statistician would just say it's probability.
Probability.
You
That's
guys
exactly
hit the. Yep. Have a good night, Frost. Thanks, bro, for stopping through. Appreciate it. As always, anybody that wants to come up, you don't have to be here the whole show. Like that's the whole point. You can stop up, give me your experience. You can leave. You can be anonymous. Fire in the holes here. Finally, if you want to pop up, you can. You don't have to. But I do like the little guy. But so.
So has anyone ever like seen anything? So there's one place in Massachusetts, because Massachusetts, part of war. I mean, there's a lot of death. We were at a cliff and there were like these black figures on the cliff, and then we were just kind of like looking up at it like, that's a little weird, a little suspicious. And then they started moving eerily down the side of the cliff towards us, and we ran. I don't know the ending to that because we didn't stay long enough to find out what. Never went back. But that's unexplainable. That's not us just seeing like, oh, there's something moving. No. That was something. There was no figure, no face, no anything. We weren't on drugs besides marijuana. So
that
like what else?
Wacky tobacco? Oh no.
I've
wacky tobacco.
Seen creatures and stuff, but I've only seen like human spirits or felt negative energy, but I've never seen the negative or cats. Yeah. My husband Cisco, he saw a cat here, the house we're at now. We have curtains in between our doorways because our house is old and we try to keep the heat in. And out the cat goes curtain to go into the living room. No big deal, right? So he goes through and comes into our room and just kind of stood there for a minute because our black cat had been in my lap the entire time. Wow. So black cat come from, he was spooked out for a while. He was like sitting there going, like just, he saw a cat go through the curtain moved and there was no cat. Basically for us, this house, we tell you if you don't believe in spirits, you will by the time you leave, especially if you're going to stay here a while, like live here for a couple months or something.
How old is your house?
122 years old.
Oh yeah, it is definitely seen its share.
Carol Ann. Oh, sorry.
I am empath, so I've been able to see them, hear them. Other people do. We've had people because we have several here, but we've had people like, I totally just saw a little girl in your hallway and explain what she looks like and what she said and things like that. And then somebody who's never been here be like, is there a little girl here? Like, no. And they would explain her and, you know, say what she would say and all of that. Or they'd hear, they'd sit in one bedroom and they could hear like a little girl laughing all the time. So it was good, you know, but it was also sad.
Happy.
Yeah. I mean, but it was sad too because she like go on, you know, her parents are waiting, whatever.
Right.
So,
She's stuck.
I actually saw 2 people on my stairs, and one was wearing a blue flannel and the other one was like kind of scared. So he or she had red on, and so I'd hear them still to this day. I hear them walk up and down the stairs. Half the time I think it's my husband coming up the stairs. But I had told him about that. And then it was about 2 years later, he starts calling me, and I go downstairs, and he's like, tell her what you just said to me. And he explained seeing his dad, explaining to me what he saw 2 boys walking down the stairs wearing three. Okay, he said 3. I saw 3. And he's like, what? Someone wearing a shirt like mine, and he was wearing a blue flannel. They were downstairs, but there's a hill there. But he pointed out to where it was. There was a hill there, and he says, and then they just disappeared. And that was that. Well,
it was foggy.
This house was it was sunny morning, but this house moved at one point, so the stairs would have been the other way.
Oh wow!
So this is the part that bugs me. Like, I'm kind of on the fence here, and I do want to say hi to Big Jim there. What's up, Jimmy Mead?
Hey, what's up?
So before we get, I do want to just keep hearing stories, but I want to pull up the hoaxes too. I found a bunch of things, but this one seemed like the most simple because it just says 7 of the biggest of all time. And we'll just sort of read some of them. Like the Fox sisters was in 1848. Basically, it was the day before April Fools, so we don't even need to read through all that one. They basically told their mom this whole story about ghosts. And then there was the Cottingley fairy. Dude, look at this old ass picture of fairies. Let me zoom this in a little bit. Like,
wait, we can zoom in.
You can too, but the audience can't. So that helps.
I know. I noticed that on my other device. I was trying to.
Young Elisa in the early 20th century. Elsie Wright and Francis Griffith took a series of photographs which would be used to prove the existence of supernatural creatures. The first of pictures. That doesn't. This is a wiki, isn't it? No, it's not a wiki. The first 2 pictures were they just put the wrong 2 in there. We're taken. It was just like, was this voice to text on this website? We're taken in 1917. Wow. And Elsie was 16. And Francis was 9. Wow. Okay, so they made some doctored pictures from in 1917. That's crazy.
That is crazy to think that you could doctor pictures back then, given the technology in which pictures were taken.
It probably looks fake.
Not even a double exposure because they didn't get fairies in flight. So, wow.
They called it essential evidence or for psychic phenomena. The pictures quickly became some of the most widely recognized photos in the world. Wow. Oh, in 1978, magician and scientific skeptic James Randi debunked the photos by using a computer-enhanced process to find strings attached to the fairies in the image. Wow. Cousins.
So in 1917, they did that, and it got debunked in 1978.
And then cousins of these kids eventually admitted the truth themselves in an article in 1983, the year I was born, you guys. Where both women claim to have
fooled
seen
people
fairies.
for that long.
They
Wow.
still claim to have seen real fairies, even if the pictures were a scam.
Of course they do.
Oh, here's one we've all heard of. What'd you say, Dan?
Oh
Sorry.
yeah,
I just, even if I would have
Amityville.
lived in that time period and seen pictures, I don't know if I would have believed it anyway.
Yeah, it'd be tough. What's that, Jim?
That's the Amityville house.
Yes, sir.
One of the biggest hoaxes ever portrayed.
I think
It's
a
a
lot of
real
us have heard
story,
of it.
man.
Piece of the movie.
They
1974.
made good money off that story.
Oh yeah, they did. They made millions.
Interesting. So I'm not going to read about that. Everybody saw the movie. Not everybody, but maybe I should. It was written. Okay, so that's a book.
Yeah, it was a book by the actual family that lived there that supposedly had the stuff happen to them. But that all came out. It was a big scam, man. So they could sell the book.
Yeah, it says right there they drank a whole bunch of wine and made the story up.
Great story. I mean,
oh yeah, awesome,
solid.
dude. The book will scare the crap out of you more than the movies.
The Fiji Mermaid. Go ahead, Jimmy.
The book is nuts. Well, of course, your imagination fills in everything.
Is that a real photo? Is that the actual photo of this item?
This is a mermaid, supposedly.
Somebody erected a.
Actually, I was just I was watching something on birth defects, like 10 of the main craziest ones, and one of them is mermaided.
No.
Looks like somebody put this together.
Yeah, this is P.T. Barnum. So obviously, yeah.
We made money off of this one too. I think there's a common thread going on in these.
1842, Barnum acquired the Fiji Mermaid, also known as the Fiji Mermaid. Wait, what did I just say?
Well, I guess back then you could only trust that the picture was real. So if you saw it in 18.
Well, you think about the freak shows and stuff like that were at circuses. So.
The Well to Hell. Ooh. This terrifying legend says that in the late 1980s, Russian engineers drilled a hole in an undisclosed area of Siberia. There was a much bigger reaction to this well than expected. For one, it was bigger than it was ever intended to be. Drilled nearly 9 miles deep, the depth of this cave reached remarkably high temperatures of 2,000 degrees Fahrenheit.
Whoa.
I've heard this story, but I've actually heard that there's different stories that it may be actually true. It may not be. So.
Now, in Siberia, they did drill a hole, and it was like something miles.
Yeah, that's why.
And they lowered microphones down into it, and it really sounded like people screaming and shit.
That's what it says here. Some crew members claim to have heard strange and unsettling sounds from the hole. In response, a heat-tolerant microphone and additionally sensory equipment was sent down into the well. What allegedly came back up were recordings which revealed this well to be a gateway to hell itself.
Now, I actually saw a program where they lowered a microphone down in there.
Yeah, it says at the
and
end
it did sound crazy.
It says at the end it was from a movie, though, 1972 film.
That's what I was like. It sounds like a great movie.
Oh yeah,
looped from a sound. I've never heard the movie.
Oh,
Air and Blood.
The news outlet. That's interesting.
That's funny.
So I think they did lower a microphone, but I don't think that actually was the sound that they got. But some of the story was true.
Ghost Watch. Was this the first Ghost Watcher show? I don't remember these guys, but before Blair Witch Project brought the found footage genre back to life in 1999, there was a British television special Ghost Watch in 1992. Released on Halloween, this horrific special claimed to be genuine documentary footage which followed a group of BBC reporters into a haunted house. The events claimed to be a live broadcast, but in the midst of detailing the home's history and interviewing neighbors, the reporters encountered a malevolent spirit named Pips. Pips.
I still think when I watched the movie, it was terrifying. That when I watched it at a younger age, I thought
Which one? Blair Witch
Project.
Oh,
yeah.
okay, yeah, but this is
The
they were just comparing it to Blair Witch. This is
Yeah.
a
Dude,
TV series
when
called
Blair
Ghost
Witch first came out, though, man, everybody
Oh,
thought
Pam.
that it was real shit. Though
Yeah,
they
for sure.
played it
Right.
like
I
that.
remember that.
That's
I
true.
remember me and a bunch of my friends were on some hallucinogens one night when it first came out, and we were going to drive there and
Oh,
go
geez.
check it out.
All right, Waylon, I'm gonna hop off. Appreciate
Okay.
you having me up.
Bye,
Have a
KJ.
great
You have a
night,
great night.
everybody.
Thank you
Yeah,
for
later.
hanging out. I know you had more to talk about, lots of stories, but thanks for talking about some of it. Appreciate it.
Thank
You
you.
know, I've
Guys,
had
go
some
follow
really crazy
Kasia.
experiences.
Well, let's
You
hear
know
about it.
that are weird.
Let's pull us all back up. I know we have about 10 minutes to tell our family members up top here need to go, but I got all the time in the world. Let's hear about it.
By the way,
Well,
have you ever?
like when I was a little kid, we lived in this old farmhouse that was part of the Underground Railroad. It was
Bye,
built
Pam.
in 1834. It's where our horse farm was. It's not there anymore, but it was at the corner of
I'm
Olympia
sorry,
Road
did
and
you say
Stanford
when
Flat.
you were a little, I'm sorry, did you say when you were a little kid in 1834?
No, the house was built in 1834.
I didn't know Jimmy was that old.
I can't see you very well, and I was just like, God damn, can we just do a show on this man?
Never heard of you've heard of Rick Simpson oil. He makes Jimmy meat oil.
He's got his own recipe.
Bye, Valerie.
Well, I mean, a bunch of weird shit happened at this place. Like shit getting moved around, fucking noises, all this and that. But my mom got woke up several times by this girl walking down the hall. This house was so big it had wings. Okay, so the north wing of the house was kind of unfinished or bare in there. And my mom watched this little girl walk past her bedroom out of that wing of the house down the hallway to the room that my older sister was in. And my mom didn't think nothing of it. It happened a couple nights. She thought it was my sister, going back to her room from the bathroom. Well, one night she got up and followed the little girl down the hall into my sister's room, went in there. The little girl was gone, and my sister was sound asleep in her bed.
So I have a similar-ish type thing. I didn't mean to cut you off. If there's more, I will wait.
Well, hold on. We got history behind the little girl here too. So my grandmother lived about 2 miles down the road in a farm when she was a girl, and she knew about the house. And apparently at the 1920s, 30s, our house was a big bed and breakfast. And the family that lived there kept a little blonde girl locked in the north wing of the house because she was retarded. They didn't want anybody else here. And the little girl died in that room in that wing of the house.
Aww.
Wow.
So, yeah, kind of weird. And then we had several instances down from the barn, down the hill from the house. We had a pasture right adjacent to the barn. And in the middle of that pasture was a well. Well, sometimes in the middle of the night, we would see somebody sitting out on that well. And then like me and my stepdad, we would go down and out in the pasture. And when we would get out there, there would be nobody there. Just totally weird stuff like that.
It sounds like a good place to ghost hunt out.
Yeah.
Is it still up? Is the house still there?
No, the house is gone and the barns are gone. There's a new house that sits there.
Oh.
Only one of the buildings that was there when we lived there is still there. And it's the building that, implement building, kept the tractors and shit in, but everything else is gone.
I think
the family that moved into it right after us the house burnt down.
Oh, geez.
Wow. Or they burned it down. They're like, fuck this.
How did it
Go
burn
ahead,
down?
Melanie. You had a
Right?
Oh, I don't know how it burnt down.
Melanie, you had a similar story you were saying?
I mean, it compared until he continued.
Oh, that got changed. I think at some point it's some piece of all of us we want to believe, right? And so I think there's such an easy temptation for us to make those things real in our heads, and so it's hard for us to actually distinguish between the real ones that I think some of us have pointed out, like they're just full on unexplainable, and the ones where we probably do like I had a black cat, and since he's died, like I definitely see him in the shadows all the time, but that's probably just my mind playing tricks on me, right? Or is it? It's like that's the tough part about all this, because I know some of it's fake, and I know some of it is unexplainable.
Well, I've debunked a lot of paranormal shit over the years too.
Have you heard of
like Halloween just happened? Me and my son would go to a famous haunting place every Halloween ever since he was a little kid. And like the Crybaby Bridge, it's over there by what's that town south of Galesburg?
We got something like that around here too.
Where are you at?
Quincy.
Something in Quincy called Crybaby Bridge, but it's more north of here. Only like 20 or 30 minutes. It's an old bridge.
Well, this place is, damn it. What's the college town south of Galesburg? I'm like brain farting.
Twin River College? No. Are you talking about Western, Southern, SIU?
Not Macomb. I'm talking right next to Galesburg.
I don't know. Doesn't matter. Move it on.
Well, there's a Crybaby Bridge over there or whatever, and people park their cars on it, and their car rolls uphill, and it'll have handprints on their car and whatnot. Well, if you actually go there in the daytime and you look at it, the bridge is actually leaning downhill, but looks like it's going uphill. It's a definite angle.
Do you guys know about the Winchester Mystery House?
Yep.
I'm here in California, so I was wondering what you guys think. I know the backstory, but they say that she's still there.
Crazy lady.
Yeah, so Winchester's the guy that made the guns, right?
Yeah.
Rifle.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And his wife went batshit crazy and just kept adding on to the house and adding on to the house, but it wasn't rooms. It was like a staircase to a door that led outside, but you're up there.
Right.
So it's like the craziest fucking house, but people swear that she's still there and that it's forever changing and all this kind of crazy shit. So
yeah, they've had a lot of ghost hunting shows on there, and they've actually got a lot of good footage at that place. It's
I would
like something going on.
Why not?
You what?
I would go check it out. Why not?
It's only 3 hours from me. We can meet there. I used to live like a half an hour from there, but it's one of those where when you live near something, you never go,
Right.
I've had this since I was a child, and then, as you said, I was on the paranormal team, and I was on the care team, so I would help people like protect themselves and things like that.
Garlic and crosses and stuff.
Sure.
we'll go with that.
No,
Yeah,
okay.
we'll put
I want to take a big left turn here, because I gotta say, guys, you can't talk paranormal without bringing the divine and the demonic into it. Like, you might, some people. Okay, so I thought of this earlier, and I was like, maybe not everybody believes in God, right? But maybe you believe in some sort of a something bigger than us, right? And I think that there is a whole side of paranormal to that. Like, some people truly believe that it's an angel, or it's something biblical over their shoulder, or that they saw that these moments that we're talking about. I personally, I don't feel connected to any book written by man, but I do feel something over my shoulder the last few years have been pushing me forward to doing these things. This particular thing, this is not necessarily, but all of my farming show pushing, to make awareness to the whole self-sustainability and this whole idea of actually eventually feeding other people one day and that kind of thing. That whole thing has been sort of thrust upon me, and I felt it. I've literally not felt like it's been my idea the whole time. It has not. I've not felt. I don't. But I don't feel a connection to Jesus. I feel a connection to. I call him God, whatever. But the thing, there's something higher than me that has been, pushing me forward to this. And I cannot tell you how many times I see the number 444. And I'm not one of these weirdos. I no offense to the weirdos, but some people, I know some of them that every time they look at their clock, huh? There's a number. Do you see that? Let's go look it up. Like, I know people like that, you know.
Yeah, I see 1111.
The 1111s.
Yes, like that. But if you look up 444, it says that there's a guardian angel over your shoulder. And I feel like it's more like he's a supervisor, and he's got his clipboard, you know. His foot is on my shoulder while he's like writing on his clipboard. Okay. Not getting a lot done over here.
I'm a firm believer in stuff like that. Like, you talk to anybody that writes music, a lot of songwriters will tell you it's not them. They feel like they're channeling something.
Yeah.
I feel like that when I'm writing music a lot. I mean, it'll happen in the moment and then be totally lost until that feeling comes back again.
That's meditation too. It's basically you're meditating and expanding your mind, allowing yourself to think better.
Isn't it more like a relaxing your mind while expanding it at the same time?
I mean,
or
music
at least
does the same thing. When you listen to music, you're basically meditating.
Sometimes video games can be like that for me. If it's something not that doesn't take a whole lot of thought, but it's just
that's devil though, Waylon.
Maybe you might be right. Maybe. Wow. Yeah, no, but this could go on and on, guys. We could, I mean, all day long for sure.
Well, I do have one experience that I wanted to share. I mean, we're talking about, higher power and all of that. My very first house, it was definitely haunted. Definitely haunted. There was some children were murdered there. Old guy died there. It just was a bad house. So we would always see little kids in the house, and they would hide my keys, hide this and hide that. They wouldn't cause any trouble, but they would constantly hide something. And to the point where we would search everywhere, say, forget it, leave, come back, and it'd be sitting on the steps.
I have that happen all the time in this house.
One time my buddy was over and he was like, I don't fucking believe in spirits. They can kiss my ass. They're not real, this and that. And an actual cross that we had sitting on top of our TV come flying at him. I don't mean fall off the TV. It came flying at him like a baseball. Somebody threw it. And he got up and left the house, never came back. Said, I will not come back to your house again. I believe in spirits 100%. I believe in ghosts 100%. There's nothing that nobody can ever say that will change my mind.
But do you also believe that there's a percentage of the time, and we don't know what that is, that people do make things up and they are unreliable? That's why what's that term in court? Eyewitnesses are less relevant anymore because a lot of times they're easily memory is fooled.
Right.
Fear makes you see something else.
Right. Wouldn't it be cool if there was some sort of a test to know that a person like how much that person is psychic or whatever? It would be really interesting for us to develop some way to tell some. I know some people don't see any of that stuff. Like it just they're NPCs.
Yep. They have to have their own physical proof,
Right.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure you would, Justin.
Justin definitely went to doubt it, but
still a skeptic. Does anybody have any good stories in the comments? You don't if you want them read, talk about them now. I mean, I know people put a lot throughout the show, but got a lot.
I was going to reference back to when I was doing that Ouija board experience. I didn't that the temperature dropped about 15 degrees when that Ouija board started moving, and that the temperature drop was what everybody in the room felt. And we at one point we were talking to a 2-year-old child, and my friend, she kept taking pictures all night, and we were smoking cigarettes down there. And the next day we had a baby's face that came through one of the smoke, like about a 2-year-old child that came through the smoke in a picture. It was really bizarre looking. But
how long have you been ghost hunting?
Yeah, I have actually. My cousin Eric and his buddy, they actually have a paranormal group, and they've been to a lot of these famous places and whatnot, like the Exorcist house down there by St. Louis, that prison over in Indiana, and whatnot. But they've never really found any proof of anything. I believe in spirits and ghosts too. I mean, that house is not the only place I've had experiences at. I've had lots of them. Like Jason was just talking, he's got stuff that comes up missing. That happens here at my house all the time. And you can sit here in my living room and constantly hear somebody walking in the bedroom above, like where I'm sitting right now, the bedroom right up here. You can hear somebody walking around in that room all the time, and there's nobody else in the house.
It's crazy.
That's exactly why we got the Ouija board out that first time, because my friend heard somebody walking around the house, so we communicated with that.
But someone already had it though, so let me be skeptical here. Somebody already had a Ouija board. Were you already talking about being a ghost hunter at that time?
No, I was.
This was beforehand. Okay,
yeah, I was.
Okay,
but I mean, I didn't believe in it until the experience started happening, and actually, at first it didn't work at all, and then we found this kind of seance on Google that we said it was basically a poem,
Google gobble one of us,
and not like that, but more or less pronouncing that we came in peace. And less than 30 seconds after we finished saying it, it started moving, and it moved for the next 2 to 3 hours, basically nonstop.
Oh, so you said something ahead of time. You didn't just grab the board.
Yeah, we did it. We did it first, and nothing happened. At first, we did, and then we're like, maybe we're supposed to say something, so we found something and said it, and then.
The problem is nowadays it's made by Hasbro.
Yeah,
you didn't have an original Ouija board.
This one's actually a 1980s version, but it.
Oh, okay. No, but it still was an original Ouija board.
It's still a piece of masonite with a sticker on
it. Let's come on out.
Philip, you should come up and talk about it. Philip says, I was in Jackson Prison and Camp Branch. Both were haunted as shit.
Is Camp Branch another prison?
I've not heard of that one. I don't know.
Philip looks ready for Christmas already.
None of my boyfriends or husbands have been to that one yet.
You're getting to that one next on the pen pal.
That's about the last one left. No. When I was younger, off the subject. When I was younger, I did like bad boys, and mother would meet them and go, "How long did you do?" She didn't even ask their name. She just be like, "How long did you do?" And they all had a fucking answer.
Oh no!
I was like, "Damn it!" Oh well.
So she was asking them directly. Okay, that makes more sense. Hi,
yeah,
nice to meet you. Oh, how long did you do?
Pretty much.
Only 5 years.
5 years in my missionary position. And then I moved over to the Blue Cross. Like, huh? Who's this?
All right, guys. I do have another show I have to get to, so thank you for having me, guys. It's a great
later, Jason. Hey, next time you're around, make sure you come see me, man.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely. I'll be down the way again soon.
To that, sorry. It was a hospital. I also must get to that same show. So I will be saying goodbye too.
All right, everybody. Thanks again, everybody. Have a great
one. Go check out 42710 Family. They do great. They do waffles over there. They have 3 different things going on now.
Actually,
go ahead. Let's hear it.
The 42710 Waffle House. If you're interested in waffles, that's all we do there. Yeah, follow us. Come see us. It's all apparatuses such as Rios. We've done a sock. We do a lot of big glass pieces. No product, but everything you can use your product in.
Are you thinking about doing non-smoking items like headsets and things?
Maybe not on that page. That page I may go towards. A lot of people want apparel.
That too.
420 sweatshirts and stuff. So we may throw some up there, and tapestries. But other than that, I want to stick to mostly, well, it's all 42710 related.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I get it. But
all right,
you guys have a good night. Might see you later.
Thank you. See you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Lanny, everybody, thanks a lot. And Miss Rose, that's how I know you. But I mean, I'm sure you're in other groups out there, right? Oh, you got muted.
No, just the 42710 family.
Oh, I see. Is it because it's a private group?
That, and I just feel more comfortable with them,
Sure. No, it's a tight knit group for sure. I appreciate it. So,
by the way, have you ever heard
now,
of
Dan?
CE5 handbook?
Dan, you're very quiet, bro. I think that's why
that Crybaby Bridge I'm talking about is it is north of Quincy. Monmouth is the town.
Oh, okay, yeah, it's
probably the same one.
I think it sounds. I really doubt there'd be two like that close together. Sounds like they'd be within.
Right, I investigated it before we went. Like I said, every Halloween, me and Gideon would go to a different one of these places. Like we went down to the Hell's Bridges down by St. Louis too, and up and that. And I mean, we've been all over these different places, but there's like 20 different of these Crybaby Bridges all over the country where supposed the same thing happens.
What about this, you guys?
That's why I'm here.
That's why I'm here.
Oh, Peoria Asylum or Bartonville? You know, my mom worked there.
Insane asylum.
The place is torn down now.
Yep.
Yeah, it's gone.
Down. But you used to
now
be
back when I was a teenager or early 20s, we used to take hallucinogens and wander around in there and get down in the catacombs.
Yeah.
Now, granted, we were always on hallucinogens, but some weird shit would happen there.
So that's what I was gonna say. Like it was a place that kids would sneak into, but then they started doing tours before they tore it down. I thought.
Oh, right. I knew a girl that was involved in those tours. That group of people, they were trying to make money to renovate the place.
Mm-hmm. But it didn't end up working out, I don't think.
But yeah, the history of that place is pretty scary, man. They tortured fucking people there and shit. Like my mom worked there right before it closed.
Yeah,
what's
Illinois
that?
had some of the worst.
My mom worked there right before it closed.
Oh, okay. Like when
Illinois had some of the worst mental health hospitals in the country at one point. Stuff they were doing to them in there.
The skeptic in me looks at it and says, "Okay, it's a scary looking building, right? But like this picture to the right doesn't look that scary." You know, the middle one, the black and white pictures look scary. Obviously, this half torn down. Oh, look, there's a person in the window. Photography trickery. Oh, Philip says he can make some 420 hats. I'll take one. Philip, bro, I need more hats. I need more hats for my wear. Although I did get a haircut, everybody. Nobody said nice haircut, but I'll let it slide this one time.
How can we tell, Waylon? Your hair's always short.
Well, I usually was wearing a hat recently too because my hair was getting too long. So touche, Jimmy. Come back like that.
Invite me over.
Thanks, Rose. Appreciate it. Yeah, there's probably we could look at.
Where are you from, Rose?
Washington State.
Oh, right on.
I'm about 15 minutes Canadian border.
Oh, nice. I've been through there.
Does it rain a lot there?
Yes.
See, I'm always fascinated with that. I feel like you should be able to
it's horrible.
Capitalize on that.
It's either raining, snowing, or just frozen for about 8 months of the year.
Like I want a water tower designed to collect rainwater, right, on a massive scale in a rainy climate, and then at a high point, right, and then you could use it for hydroelectricity, like a big battery.
Washington is one of the perfect places to do that.
Yeah, we get a lot of crazy rain here too, and we have a back and forth climate in Illinois, so Yeah, thanks a lot, Rose. I appreciate your expertise for sure. We actually had two, an amateur and a professional within this category today. It was awesome. A lot of good stories. Dale says, "Yeah, the hat coming." Okay, I'll take that for sure. All right, everybody. If anybody with that, I don't think I see any more stories in the comments. And you guys in the boxes, feel free. You can stay after for any reason to talk about the show. But I keep forgetting to tell people that.
I never heard of this.
Oh yeah, what's this?
This is CE5 handbook. It's basically you use meditation to contact aliens and UFOs. I bought it at just to look. It actually just contains a whole bunch of like ancient meditation techniques to use. But
I'm intrigued.
The thought is that if you like a group of people and you all meditate and you basically try to like think where you're at in the universe, like where we're located at, and you kind of guide whatever aliens into this place. And this guy, into basically where you're at, and he says that within 6 sightings you'll have 1 UFO encounter or your money back. So
6 sessions.
6 sessions you'll have an encounter.
Now I know some people that go out in the middle of this field north of Peoria and do that.
Yeah, and there's YouTube videos, and there's a lot of bizarre stuff that happens. There's lights that appear, and the guy has a laser where he communicates back with the UFOs with lights, and a lot of skeptics show up to these events, and then they see these lights, and it's really bizarre.
I can't think of the name of the town, but there's a town down in Missouri that had a Roswell-like incident. Man, what is the name of that town? But a lot of UFO hunters and stuff go there. I've been wanting to take a trip there just to see if anything happens. Because I've had some weird UFO shit that happened too, man. But hallucinogens were involved again. So we don't know if it really happened or not.
This one, they actually had UFOs and ghosts appear at the same events. So they had ghosts that would appear behind people along with UFOs in the sky. So that's what the weird thing is. There were a lot of different things going on at some of these events just through group meditation.
Yeah, and that's the thing, Jimmy. You don't want to discount it with the hallucinogens because a lot of people are finding out that's what's allowing you to see some of this.
Well, one time, me and a homie of mine were coming back up from Carbondale. And, that's a 5-hour drive.
I've been there, yeah.
And we left at like 7 p.m. Didn't get back up here until like 6 in the morning. The sun was coming up. And the whole time we were driving, there was this weird light in the sky following us. And we could never account for the lost time because we never got off the road. Drove straight through, but we lost like 3 hours.
Yeah. Maybe he drove a lot slower than you thought.
No, man. I mean, that could be a possibility. You thinking that length of drive on the highway?
That'd be a lot slower, though. Yeah, you'd have to drive.
That would be a lot slower, right? Wow. And then, of course, seeing the light come up out of the ground and then taking off real quick. Seen stuff like that a bunch of times.
Yeah.
Actually, when I saw that happen one time was on Springfield Road, and there was like 3 other people pulled over to watch it too, which is weird.
That is weird.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, I don't have any defining moments that I could point to where I saw, but there were plenty of times where like deja vu is one we didn't really discuss. I've had that enough times where I'm like, I know, like in a past life or maybe a past simulation, like I was here before. And something that we haven't taken into account as well. Have you guys heard of the simulation theory?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Jimmy knows about it. Dan, you probably heard about it. Anyway, we got 5 people still hanging out. I know I made it sound like we were wrapping up, so a lot of people left. But I'm still not doing anything, so we can hang out. I want to talk about it, though, because the simulation theory, to me, kind of blows my mind. It works off of probability. So if you ask almost anybody, especially anyone who's seen The Matrix, right? Do you think at some point in existence, from here till eternity, that humankind will make something like the Matrix, like where you could be in a program and you don't know it, like where you're inside of a simulation. And almost assuredly, the answer is 100% yes. At some point, we will make something, and even if it's imperfect, if you're inside of it, you don't know this, right? And so that's what blows your mind, because the chances of us being in what we might call the one true reality, right, are way, 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 way smaller than us being in what hundreds, millions, whatever of fake simulations that we might have created. So the chances that we're before that is very small. I might be butchering it. I have smoked a couple of medicinals.
Then it's kind of along the same lines as multiverse or the Mandela effect.
Yeah, and the multiverse could be another way of saying God's simulations, right?
Right.
God has multiple simulations and it's different universes, and it's all crazy because we can only see in 3 dimensions. We can't see in 4 and 5 dimensions, and we know there could be more than that even. So
this book actually has a theory of what that's kind of believable, that they actually have in Stargate, that TV series Stargate, there's a civilization that basically becomes so advanced,
that's what I prescribe to over God or biblical.
But they become,
who made them?
They become so advanced that they basically learn how to become particles of the universe. And the theory is that these aliens that come to here they know how to travel. They've advanced so far ahead of us that they've learned how to travel and use different means that we don't understand yet.
So you guys have heard of near-death experiences, right? NDEs. There was a study done on, I don't know how many hundreds of them. I'd have to look up the details, but they did a study and they took out all accounts that had happened during a rescue from ambulance personnel, paramedics, anyone who was brought back in the hospital, like on a table with doctors hovering over them with lights in their faces. All of those stories of, oh, there's floating beings above me and there's a bright light. They took out all of those stories and it left them with only stories where people either came back on their own without any help, or like a significant other was there, but not like a team of doctors. And every time it didn't have medical personnel involved. Every single story had them feeling like they were re-emerging back into the universe, like their energy was melding back in, to the rest of the flow of things. And to me, I think that's a good explanation for what you might think of as heaven, right? Eternity. Well, it's because our energy doesn't just disappear. In my opinion, I think that's probably right. I think we're going to merge back into the universe, and then maybe we get.
Isn't it weird that the electrical current can travel through mushroom mycelium? That's how they communicate, and that's how our brains actually
similar.
That we actually made them in theory become part of the mycelium network when we die.
Isn't it mushrooms that people think might not be from this planet? Or what? I know octopus people like to think that's such a strange.
It's a very bizarre thing that it does, and it breathes oxygen and produces CO2 just like we do. And but yeah, there's a lot of things that we don't understand about mushrooms that.
Hi, Amanda.
Weird.
Joe Kelly, I'm totally mushroom health.
What's that?
Matter
Jimmy?
of fact, I was sick, but I was going to come to the Rosebud thing, and I was wanting to get some mushrooms from you.
Oh, hold on.
They're still there. They're where we sell them.
Oh yeah, Waylon's got them.
Yeah, he's got. I'm surprised he hasn't eaten them yet. I told him they're ready to pick. He can eat them.
I'm wanting to grow them, dry them, and make tincture.
Oh, he's got them in the canister. Yeah, I ate about half a pound tonight of some blue oysters.
I'm gonna cook some with a steak actually, and then also with some soup. Jimmy, Oh yeah.
No, those look nice.
There's just a chunk of it there. I got a whole
Yummy.
bunch of them here.
Dan, do you got like lion's mane and reishi and cordyceps going?
Not yet, but the lion's mane I just kind of started, but it's more or less finding the right species and genetics. I'm still trying to. You can buy them online, but sometimes they're just not the greatest.
Right.
It's better off to find somebody who grows them. Just buy a bag of them from another grower and take his species, even though it sounds illegal. But that's where the best genetics are.
Why would that be illegal?
Andy's got lion's mane.
There is no copyright on a plant, but when you somebody else, you can actually clone a mushroom and genetically improve it over time, but it takes years.
Yeah, and I kind of felt after the show yesterday, I was like, I don't know, does he not want me asking like how we could go about doing it, like because you're trying to sell the mushrooms, so like you may not want to tell, but I'm sure with some Google searches and people could do their own research and.
Well, I do have
I pretty much know how to do it. I think
I shared that with you that we're having a how to grow mushroom class in Quincy, December 18th. At a local.
I don't remember hearing that.
I saw that, but I'm going to be out of town at a festival.
Sunday.
What's the festival?
There's a music festival
in the middle of December.
Yep, 16th. It's a hotel party.
It's at a hotel party. Well, sounds exclusive.
Go, Waylon?
I mean, since I didn't have to push too hard to get an invite, I'll say yes. No, I'll definitely. That's cool. Was it far away?
Decatur, actually.
Oh, interesting.
Me and Stumpy's going, but I'm going to get a big room.
Cool. Yeah, I'd like to. I'm going to go down to Springfield for that Level Up event too. I know they just opened their store down there. I don't know where I'm going to review for next week. I need to do some more grow shops and head shops. Probably I need to do Feeling Groovy, and I want to do Kelly Seed. Both of those are kind of staples in the area. I want to do. I'll probably do Grow Up at some point. Stuff like that. I want to get all the big ones out of the way.
Are you going to end up going over to Missouri now that they legalized?
That's a good question.
Their laws are
way better than ours. I've been contemplating that ban for a couple of years, actually. I sat in last summer at an event down there with politicians, and they outlined the way that they want everything to go, and it's going to be great down there.
Yeah, where the money's going, I mean, a lot of the money's going to opioid addiction programs. If they actually pass laws where DCFS can't take your child now if you smoke cannabis.
Where?
One of the first in Missouri.
Wow.
One of the first states to actually write that into law. Besides, I think Colorado has. But
so they can take your kids if you smoke cannabis.
No. They said you can't. They
Oh.
They wrote in the law that the DCFS cannot take your kids just because you smoke cannabis.
But it can't stop them from how do I put this? Having a soft bigotry, or like they can still look for other problems because they see that, like, oh, we don't like that. We can't technically say that.
If you're doing like domestic violence and smoking cannabis, they're gonna more than likely arrest you for, the cannabis.
Sure.
Which I hear that's how in Illinois, that's the only people who are getting busted for pot, or people who come in. The police come in for a domestic violence and find
some other issue.
Grow operation. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. Well, Philip, I am head to the Upper Peninsula of Michigan. I'm going to go up there to a grow store. Oh, very cool. The Youpers, the Fudgies, right? Isn't that where the Fudgies are? Are they still making fudge up there? I don't know.
They got a lot of probably have a lot of good products.
Oh yeah, they could do a lot of infused product up there. Chocolate and fudge. But yeah, guys, I think we're going to wrap it up. I appreciate that. It was a good conversation. We could really talk all day about all the different things. The hollow earth theory. I could go on all day. I love it. I really liked that movie that came out not too long ago. It was called Moonfall or Earthfall. Moonfall is basically the moon, and there is a theory out there where the moon, the craters are really shallow on the moon, and they think that's because the moon is actually an old spaceship that brought us to the planet and had crashed into the planet or whatever, and a bunch of the pieces of debris and space dust from all over time have like collected up over on the outside like a little an outer crust. And the thought is that basically the moon is a spaceship, and eventually I forget what happens, it starts to lose orbit and starts to fall into the planet, and they figure out a way to save everybody. But yeah, that's one theory. It's kind of interesting too. But yeah, thanks Philip, thanks everybody, thanks a lot, guys. Where's my button? Guys, go follow, go check out Big Jim over there on Prairie State Genetics. I do this every time. Prairie State Growers Club. They also, dude, Prime Superior. It's kicking butt. It's doing well for me actually.
I sold 4 bottles tonight.
Oh, sheesh. I don't know if you grow it
on the shelf over there, man.
What's that?
I don't know if you grow it all, but
yeah, I do. Yeah. That's important. That one of the things I use. That's LF.
Jimmy Mead there. He sells Prime Superior. What would you call it?
I'm the Midwest regional distributor of Prime Superior.
What's your quick go-to explanation? Like it's a
beneficial fungi that creates symbiosis in the plant, not only invigorates growth but protects the plant from mold and mildew and bugs.
I don't know if Rosebud sells that in Quincy, but
they're going to be getting it very soon. I've already been talking to Devin about it. They're just waiting for him to order.
Yeah, I was trying to get it down there that day.
You need some, Dan. Go hit up Andy, man.
I do. I grow hydro though, so I have to use a couple different nutrients.
Well, you can use this in your hydro system as a foliar and get the same benefits.
That's what I'm doing.
I added the SLF when I used to have to change my buckets weekly because they would get grimy and stuff, and the SLF completely took care of that. Now I don't have to change.
Well, SLF is a flusher.
Yeah, well, I mean, it eats the bacteria, that sludge that would build up on my buckets. It completely eliminates that now.
Just a smaller amount you're using instead of what a flush would require.
Yeah, it's a really small amount that you can put in.
Thanks for those reacts, whoever that was. Somebody just popping in. Speaking of my seed, Great Germ. Okay.
Somebody put it up. They used it on their seed.
Yeah, he has a little bottle of it at Rosebud, I believe. Just one bottle.
Yeah, I have those some small plants in my aquaponics system, seeing how they do. But I actually think I found a spider web. And I don't think it's they're spider mites. It's there. I don't see any. I don't find any anywhere on any leaves. I took a bunch of leaves off. It's a small little plant that's flowering. I think it was a regular spider web.
Yeah.
You know what? I actually had somebody get a hold of me tonight because they had real spider webs. They're like, "Is this a real spider web?" I was like, "Yep, that's way larger web than a spider mite creates."
That's what I was thinking. I'm like, and I'm looking real close, and I trimmed a bunch of the leaves up. And no, it's just a spider. Okay, cool. I'm okay with them now. I'm actually cool. One of the People in the Boxes episodes, we did go over beneficial insects and good guy bugs and stuff. And I remember how the title was named, but basically, like, a lot of people a lot of people kill any bug they see because they're like, it's a bug. Well, but now, man, I see a ladybug land on me. I'm like, hey, little buddy. If I see like there's a whole bunch of them now after that, I'm like, oh, that's like, okay, spiders, as long as you don't look too big and scary.
They do bite though, the ladybugs.
Do they?
No, just Japanese ones without spot bite.
I did a job once at a house where we were doing a siding project, and thousands of them came out of the woods once, and we got basically attacked by a whole bunch of those ladybugs, and that's the only time I've ever been really bitten by them, but they were biting us.
Wow. That's kind of insane. I never heard of that.
Those Japanese ladybugs that don't have the spots and they're kind of orange and yellow sometimes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Those bite, man.
Are those still beneficial though? Yep, that's what Philip said.
They are, but they're also bad.
Philip, I think I feel like that word might get you in trouble. You may have to. I'm not kidding. You might want to delete that comment.
It's crazy what gets you in trouble. I'm in Facebook jail right now for a comment I made 5 years ago.
Oh, gee.
In a little post where me and a bunch of my friends were joking back and forth, and I said something nasty to one of my buddies, and we all laughed, and he said something nasty back, but I got put in jail. I got like 21 more days.
Yeah, and unfortunately, it's all about wording, because you can still totally, if you know how the fucking algorithm wants us to talk, then you know how to get around it. You can say F you, and you could say all sorts of things without having to get in trouble if you know what you're doing. So anyway,
right,
yeah, guys,
5 years ago, we know we had these problems.
I think next week we are going to talk. I was going to do it this week, but next week we're going to talk about healthcare. Whose responsibility is it? And that'll divulge into all kinds of shit. I might try to get a nurse or a doctor or somebody on, but I don't know how hard that's going to be. People are going to be sort of reluctant to be on here and have their opinion scrutinized and stuff. So once I get the show big enough.
I do know an RN that I met when I first started my Greenleaf Compassion Coalition. I got contacted by a woman, and she goes to a lot of states where they legalize and speaks in front of their Congress, and she's an RN from Kansas City, and she has a business where it's a 1-800 number that any doctor's office can call and get information about cannabis, like very specific
That's
information.
cool.
And it's like $45 an hour or something. I don't know what they charge, but she said that I had like a 2-hour phone conversation, and she said that she would always help me educate people and come on podcasts. And
I tried to do that once before with my nurse at my local dispensary, and she was all for it. I swear, on the phone, sounded like she was all for it. And I explained to her, I was like, you don't have to give your opinion. You don't have to get yourself caught in any sort of traps. You can just come on and do my consultation that the dispensary offers me, but when I get my medical card. And I said, can I do that consultation, but just do it live on my show, where they go through and they try to pinpoint like the strains that might be best for you. And I thought that would be cool, but anyway, long story short, it'd be cool if you could get that person on some point. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, she can talk about it because she owns her own business, but she has an RN license, so she really doesn't have to speak to any hospitals and their own guidelines of stuff. Because a lot of if you speak out and you work for a hospital, you could lose your job.
Yeah,
if the hospital doesn't believe in cannabis.
But that being said, she's still an RN, so she could speak on healthcare in general. But then we could low key kind of divulge into she could start talking about the marijuana side of things if we end up with that, because obviously the show doesn't have boundaries. I bring it back to the topic if we have to, if we get too crazy out of control. But healthcare and cannabis are going to be hand in hand, because to me, part of the conversation is going to be, why do we expect the healthcare system to do things instead of us looking into herbalism and essential oils and cannabis and all these things that we can do?
And why doesn't the healthcare industry look into those resources as well?
That too, yeah, and they could be pushing
big
it on
discussion
us.
there. Why are they so
right? Why don't they promote it?
Focused on keeping us on man-made chemicals.
Yeah, no, I agree. So that will all be connected to the same thing. So let me know, Dan. No pressure there, because I know everybody.
I haven't talked to her in a couple of years, but yeah, I have her contact still.
Give it a shot.
Her email and her Facebook.
You heard it here first, Dan. Dan's bringing this lady. She's going to be awesome. He said 100%. It's happening. Yeah.
But that's actually what I was going to talk about on my podcast.
I might know a nurse that can come on and talk about the healthcare industry.
Anybody really? Go ahead.
One of my episodes was going to be on my podcast was going to be about red dye and the harmful effects.
Oh,
red
yes,
dye.
I'm going through that right now, man. Red dye, hyperactivity.
I literally dated a girl and watched her kid become intoxicated on it, and when we eliminated it from her child's diet, she became a different kid. So stuff.
Yeah, I'm
poisoned the kid.
Becoming a dye expert right now. I just took 3 of my great nephews into my home, and they all are just insane ADHD.
And then if you eliminate the dye from their diet, a lot of their behaviors can change. A lot of them are really sensitive.
Diet is such a huge thing, and food. To me, food is medicine. food is
if you think of what dye is made from, it's made from petroleum products, and we're putting it into our food,
natural things. Yeah, I didn't know.
Right.
We were looking into candy, and I was like finding out that almost all, like I know Jello. I know what Jello is made of, and I don't like it. Not because of what it's made of. I just don't like
it. It has red dye in it too.
But it's also made of like bones and like all this ground up like leftovers, right?
Yeah.
And then I find out it's because that's what gelatin is, right? And then I find out gelatin is in a bunch of other candies that I like that aren't Jello. Like every sort of Sour Patch Kids, like anything.
Oh yeah, all the gummies,
fruit snacks, all have those things in it. Yeah. So man, this could be a good conversation. Sure. Hell yeah, this is good. But yeah, let me know. I'd be happy to help you on your show too. I could be the behind the scenes button pusher. I can do things like that. I've always liked to think of myself as a producer in the background, but I also like to host. So. But anyway, let me know. I can help you out. And guys, go follow Dan. Dan, you have so many pages, bro. I don't know where to push what to push people to in general. Like like you have the mushroom page, then you have the
most of the time if
there
you
was
just
another ghost
find me on
page.
Facebook, you can find all my links are to those pages around there.
Well, they won't be able to see that from here. You know what I'm saying? So on our way out, I was trying to throw them something to go find you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But the podcast is on the Rumination Project. But I don't know
the Rumination Project. Okay, that's what I want to. Yeah.
Where's that card? Yeah.
There it is. The Rumination Project. It's forever ingrained in YouTube, Twitch, and Facebook.
But yeah, we'll definitely want to use this app some more now that
wow, we better leave before this gets even more dark.
Okay, so I'm gonna get off here, man.
All right. At least
later,
we're leaving before you get to it. All right, I'll get a hold of you, Jimmy. Thanks, man. Have a good night. Jimmy Mead, everybody. Dan, you can hang out for a minute after this. Let me get my outro out here. I need to make a separate outro, but I just play the same thing on the out. So everybody have a great night. And share it with your friends and tell me what you think about the topics. Maybe you have a good idea for the next one. Thanks a lot, everybody.